How about now? Is it better with the audio now? Let me just quickly know in the chat if you can hear me now, which should hopefully, I should have hopefully solved the problem now. Let's see what the chat says. Okay, it seems that the audio is okay now. If it's not, please let me know. Excellent. Hi, Rebecca. Fantastic. I'm glad you can hear me now. Hi, Ahmed as well. And thank you for mentioning that. Again, technical difficulties. I was saying just before while you were not hearing me that the reason why I'm late is because I did actually have technical difficulties, because Sebastian, my little helper, or for those of you who know the inside joke, my dive Sherpa, he's not here right now. He's in the Austrian Alps somewhere skiing. So I had to take care of everything around here all by myself tonight. I know I'm a very poor guy. But it was a little much trying to figure out everything, because normally Sebastian is the one doing all that stuff in the background, and I can just kind of sit here and talk to you guys without having to worry about the live stream being, you know, like all the technical stuff, which is not really my strong suit. So we finally made it, and I'm glad to have a couple of you in the stream here. And I was saying before that please excuse if I have to go to the side or look to the side here every now and then, because this is the screen here where I'm monitoring the live stream and the chat here on the side. So I'll have to watch or to look to the side every now and then just to make sure that I'm not missing anything and that everything is still going okay. Right, so we've got Rebecca in the live stream, we've got Ahmed in the live stream. Who else is in the live stream? Let me know down in the comments section actually, so we know who's joining us for the live stream today. And also guys, if you have any questions, because this is supposed to be a Q&A session tonight, fire away and I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can. Also, I do have a couple of things prepared to work around it. Abdullah is saying hello Abdullah to you. Great to have you on the stream here tonight. So yes, I do have a couple of stuff or a couple of things prepared for you guys that we can talk about if there is no questions at the moment, or if we're waiting for questions to pop up. So we can kind of make use of that time that we've got here tonight. All right. Circle Scuba, woohoo! Yes, I am live. Thank you for your patience, mate, and sorry for being this late. So we've got our first question, I think from Ahmed. Do you know what would be the best underwater case for pictures for phones? So you're asking specifically about photos, not videos, Ahmed. And I don't think that makes too much of a difference whether you're a photographer or a videographer in terms of the case that I would choose for a phone. You probably know, if you've seen any of the videos that I've recently published about this topic, that Divefook is my absolute favorite. The touchscreen capability and stuff are just like out of this world. There's no other housing that can do this, and you can use the native apps on your phones without having to go through a third-party app or anything like that to be able to use the phone and take photos or videos for that matter underwater. There is also options of attaching flashes to your underwater housing. Normally that would work with a fiber optic cable that would then be triggered by the internal flash of your phone firing through the housing, and you would have to attach the fiber optic cable somehow to the front where the flash is positioned, so that once that flash goes off, it triggers your external flash as well. So that's an option that you can use there. I haven't really looked too much in detail into this option, but I know it is there and you can work around with this. Obviously, there's a lot of other housings out there as well, but I do really prefer the Dive Fork C-Touch for underwater smartphone housing. I do think that is really the best that you can get at this stage out on the market. I'm hoping that this is answering your question there, Ahmed, and if not, please do send another comment, and I'll be more than happy to go into a little more detail if that's necessary. Then we've got we've got a comment from Thomas, that is, from Circle Scuba. Thanks for the help with the red filters and the lighting. No worries, mate. Happy to help whenever I can help someone to create better underwater videos. That kind of makes me happy too, because, you know, the more people promote our underwater world, the more likely it is that other people who are not divers and who don't see it for themselves might start getting the idea that we should be protecting the underwater world a little more than what we do right now. So I see this as my part in helping other people to bring out content that will help protect the ocean. So yeah, no worries. Very happy to help. So we've got a couple more people joining us, which is fantastic. Great seeing all you guys in here. We've got Emma joining us here. We've got Saleh also joining us. Hello to you two guys. And Emma's got a question: GoPro 11 or iPhone 14 Pro for underwater video? Thank you, Emma, for bringing up this question. This is actually something that I've thought about very, very often in recent weeks. I had both with me on our recent underwater videography workshop in Egypt, and personally I prefer the iPhone 14 Pro for a couple of reasons. Let me explain. First of all, I do think that the iPhone 14 Pro, or any phone really, any modern phone really, is more versatile than a GoPro. Don't get me wrong, a GoPro is great as an action camera. You can get some really cool shots. You can put it in spaces where other cameras don't fit. It is very easy to use. It's literally, you press the button, you put a filter in front of it, and you get decent shots, right? But there's certainly limitations to what a GoPro can do underwater, because it has not been made specifically for the use underwater. Well, a cell phone has not been made for that use either, but it is more versatile to be used, specifically with that dive fork housing that I'm really fond of. You can use all the different lenses in there, you can use the native phone app, and it gives you the capability of just taking or using your phone to capture wide angle shots, to capture really good macro shots as well. And you'll have your images and your video clips right there on your phone, and whether you want to edit them right on the phone or transfer them to your computer and then go from there with the editing. The workflow is just really, really easy. And I've caught myself, I always thought I wasn't going to be someone who is, who edits on a phone. And having used the phone more frequently in like a recent month, I realized that it's really convenient to, once you get a nice clip of something, you've got it on your phone, and you can basically just share it right from there to Instagram, to Facebook. You don't really have to do much with it. And with the quality that an iPhone 14 offers you, the footage that comes out of that, you don't really have to do a lot with it. You can basically just take the footage as it comes from the cell phone and just upload it somewhere, and it'll be fine for most instances. So to make a long answer short, I would go with the iPhone 14 Pro in the dive fork housing. I think that is the better option there, Emma. Right, hopefully that answers that question. Then we've got a question from Saleh as well. Why you choose Gates instead of Nauticam for my red setup? Also a very good question. And Sebastian and myself, we spend a lot of time researching and looking at different options of how we can house our red Komodo. Nauticam was obviously one of the options, and then Gates was the other one. And we looked at the two housings, and because these housings, they do cost a fair bit of money, and I just didn't want to buy a housing without having the chance to try it out. And I was reaching out to Nauticam and to Gates at the same time, seeing if we can get hold of a housing to test it out and see how much we like it and if it fits our needs. And with Gates that was possible. With Nauticam it was a little more complicated. They weren't really happy supplying or shipping a housing over to us, even if we were even offering to pay for the shipping and everything. And they were like, well, you know, we don't really have any test housings and so on and so forth. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't go for the Nauticam system. The Gates team has just been so incredibly supportive, and whenever we had a question, we could just, you know, send them an email, a quick text message, and they would reply to us within literally like 24 hours, sometimes even less, giving us an answer to the question that we had. And that was absolutely phenomenal. That's the customer service that I expect from a company that sells housings that are worth as much as a small car. So that was another reason that pushed us towards the Gates system. And then with the Nauticam system, you do kind of need a separate port for every single or for every individual lens you want to use with the Komodo. And on the Gates system, they work with extension rings and basically two different ports, a wide angle dome port and a flat port for your macro lenses. And that's all you need. You don't need to buy additional ports for every single separate lens that you want to be using. That makes the whole setup a lot more travel friendly in terms of being able to pack the ports that you need for a variety of different lenses. We basically just need to take two ports and we're covered for pretty much most lenses that we want to be using with our Komodo setup. So that was also a very big reason why we went in the end for the Gates system rather than the Nauticam system. I mean, I've always been happy with the Nauticam housing that I used and still have for my GH5S setup, but the Gates in like the cinema systems, in the cinema camera system, I think that Gates is a little more experienced and has the more mature product than Nauticam. And obviously the better customer service, as I mentioned before. Right, so who else is joining us here? We've got a couple more people here. We got UAE Sea Dragons, hello to you. We got Anan. We got Pedro joining us. And there's a couple more questions. Please, guys, if I do miss any question going through them, just let me quickly know. But we'll go to the question that Anon has here. Would consider any Android phone like the Xperia 1.6 or Pixel 7 or Samsung S22 Ultra instead of the iPhone 14 Pro for underwater photography and videography? I can't really give you an answer to this, Annan. I'm very sorry. I don't really know these phones too well, so it's really difficult for me to give you an answer to this, simply because I have no experience with any other phones than iPhones. I've only used the iPhone 12, 13 and 14, the Pro versions of these phones, to take photos and videos underwater. I haven't used any other phones simply because I haven't gotten my hands on any other phones. If I do get my hands on any other, like on any Android phones, I'd be more than happy to test them out for you guys and then see how they perform. But generally speaking, I mean, if you're happy with the cameras of those phones on land, then they're most likely gonna be okay underwater as well. I mean, one of the issues is low light. And I don't think that the iPhone is specifically good in low light situations. But if you have a phone or a camera in a phone that is known to be very bad in low light, then that's probably going to be a disadvantage underwater. Other than that, just make sure to have some video lights with you, and you should be actually fine using any phone really underwater. as long as it's like a modern phone, I think they all produce really good results when it comes to taking photos and videos. But again, please don't take my word for granted here. This is just me like talking from what I've seen and heard, but I haven't really gotten any personal experience with any other phones than the iPhone models 12, 13 and 14 Pro. Sorry, I can't give you a more detailed answer there. Right, then Pedro has some questions here. Let's have a look at those questions. Hi Matt, thanks for doing this live. My question is, how did you start getting paying clients for your underwater work back in the day? Also, how much would you recommend for a professional photographer and experienced diver who is just starting in underwater photography to charge his clients for a photo video session? Well, first of all, greetings back to Venezuela, to you, Pedro, as well. Grateful that you're tuning into this live stream tonight, or it's probably sort of midday for you there. This is a very tricky question, but I can definitely give you my opinion on it. The way I started getting clients was that back in the day when I stopped working as a scuba instructor, I came back to Switzerland and I started working for a dive tour operator. So I was selling dive trips to other people. And because we were meant to be selling the dive trips, we also were meant to be going and travel a lot and see the different places that we were selling. So we were getting invited to all these resorts and liveaboards to spend a week or two or a couple of days there, see it for ourselves so we can sell it better. And what I did then while I was on work for my dive tour operator, I started taking videos of the different locations I went to. At first it was just for personal use and because I thought it was fun. And then I started uploading those videos, editing them, uploading them on social media, on YouTube. And people started seeing these videos. And then other dive resorts and liveaboards came up to me and they were like, well, you know what, Matthias, you're coming to us anyways in whatever time. Can you film a little bit for us? Can you do some video work and leave us the footage? And at first I did this just for free because I didn't think of this as a business. And then after a while, where more and more people started asking me about this, more and more companies, I started asking them for something in return. Oftentimes in the dive industry, unfortunately, and I don't know, this is probably because money is very tight and dive resorts, liveaboards, I don't know, some of them haven't really understood that marketing is a very important factor and that they cannot expect to get marketing material for free. They would oftentimes just offer you, you know, free stay, free diving, free food for the time that you stay there and produce the content for them. And then it took me a while to actually get into a situation where I was then able to really charge something for it. And it happened with people that I knew quite well, that knew me quite well. There was a relationship there, a certain trust was there. And then I started off charging actually quite little amount of money to create content for them. At the beginning it was something like a couple $100 for a video I produced for them, and I would stay a couple of days on location. Obviously everything on location was paid, but still I had to pay my flight there. I had my expenses here at home that someone had to pay. But this is kind of the way that you want to get in there. Try to produce content, distribute it, make people see your content, and then once they contact you, also talk about you actually wanting to create content for other companies. And once they contact you, then you can start talking about pricing and stuff. And at the beginning, you'll probably have to go a little cheaper, and after a while you can go a little higher with your price there as well, unless you really want to go like top end, high end right at the beginning. You can do that as well, but then you're probably better off, you know, picking the people you want to work with and contacting them yourself and just offering them to come by and do a shoot for them and create content. And that can also that can also work. Another very good way of getting connections and getting to know these people is by going to trade shows. Something like the DEMA show, if you can go to, or like a boat show in Düsseldorf, which is like one of the largest water sport shows in the world. Going there and going to specific resorts, liveaboards, and talking to the marketing people there and seeing if they're interested in having someone come over and create content for them. That might also be a good option to go there that way as well. So I hope that this is helping. Oh wow, Annan, thank you very much for your donation. Annan just donated something to me. Thank you very much, mate. Very much appreciate that. And I hope that my answer from before was beneficial and helpful to you. Rebecca is asking something. It's good to see you again, Rebecca, even though I can't really see you, but hopefully you can see me. Do you still reach out to operators when you travel to trade content for stays or quoted price? Or was that more in your early days? That was actually, Rebecca, more in my early days. Nowadays, I don't really do this anymore, I have to say. Simply because, I don't even know why, but I've kind of stopped doing this, because now when I travel, it's either just for fun, and then I don't want to be doing I don't want to have the obligation of doing any work, if that makes any sense. I just want to, I want to be there, I want to dive, I want to do my own thing, and I don't want to have the responsibility of producing content for someone else while I'm there. Or the other sort of scenario when I travel is when I do underwater videography workshops or group trips. And in that case, it's a work trip for me. I know this sounds weird because I am doing what I love doing, but it is kind of work still. And in such a situation, the operator or the dive center, the resort, the liveaboard that we're using to host the underwater videography workshop, they benefit from us bringing a group to their resort. And then every now and then I do give a little bit of content to them, but it's really, if they ask, then they get something. Otherwise, I don't really offer from my side, really, if that makes any sense. All right. Thomas has another question here. I hope this was clear or understandable and answered your question there, Rebecca. But I mean, if you are trying to figure out whether you should be doing such a thing, then by all means, yeah, sure. I mean, you've got a little portfolio of stuff that you've shot. You can show stuff that you're capable of producing, and you can always just ask any resort, guys, are you interested in me shooting something for you and giving me, I don't know, a couple free dives or a couple nights free stay at your resort? Preferably smaller places will be more happy to do that, in my experience. I wouldn't go to like larger places and places that have, like a blown up marketing system and all that sort of stuff. They probably won't be very happy with that, won't go for that. But if it's a smaller place, why not? Go for it. And if it feels right for you, by all means, go for it and try it and see if that works. So sorry, Thomas, coming back to your question, do you have suggestions on getting footage, especially B-roll style footage or footage where I'm demonstrating things for a video while diving with a group? See next comment. For example, if I dive with a buddy, they don't want me to set a camera up and stay in one spot filming B-roll. Yeah, I understand. I think I understand the question. Well, the problem here is always, Thomas, that if you're diving with a group, it's always going to be difficult because the group will, more likely than not really have understanding for you wanting to, just stay in one spot and film something, whether it is filming yourself or an object for an extended period of time. So I found it always best if you have a buddy that understands that, or ideally a buddy who's also a photographer or a filmmaker, to have someone like this with you and dive with them separately. So you don't have a guide or someone with you, and specifically not a group that is pulling you through the dive and kind of making you go quicker than what you want to do, what you want to go through the dive. It's always better to have something like the situation or a scenario like this. Either have a private guide, which you can, most resorts, liveaboards not so much, but most resorts will give you the option of hiring a private guide, which of course is costs a little extra, but it will give you that extra attention, and you can just tell the guide, look, I want to film, I don't know, ghost pipefish. Show me a ghost pipefish, and once you've showed me the ghost pipefish, I've seen it, just stay out of the way, hang out there, wait, and I will take as long as I need to take the shot of the ghost pipefish that I want to get. Once I'm done, I'll tell you, okay, we can go further on, and you can go and look for the next thing that you want to show me. And again, you can hang back while I film the thing and the animal, and then we can go through the dive this way. So that's probably one thing that I would do there. This is also one of the reasons actually why we've set up these underwater videography workshops that we've started doing this year. One thing is to pass on the knowledge, of course, but another thing is to bring people together, like-minded people together. And we've had it on our last trip to Egypt. It was very clearly and very dominantly shown that everyone in the group was very happy to just go into the water together. Everyone did their own thing while underwater, and we came back up sort of at the same time as well. And that has worked like a charm, because no one wanted to, you know, do the speed finning through a dive site to see the entire dive site in a single dive, but everyone was really happy to just find a nice little spot and just hang there for 60 or even 90 minutes and just try to do what we learned before. And if you find a group like this, which is not always easy, but if you do find a group like this, that's the jackpot in my opinion, and will give you a lot of freedom to capture the shots that you want. Hopefully that answers your question there. But it is a tricky situation, especially if you can't afford or don't want to afford or don't have the possibility of getting a private guide, and your buddy is not a filmer or photographer. Then they probably won't have the understanding that you do need some extra time to get the shots that you want to get. All right, so let's have a quick look here into the comments section. We've got a comment from Anon here. I mostly freedive. What do you think would be the best setup, housing, lens, lighting for an iPhone 14 for freediving? Interesting question. Thank you, Anon, for this question. Well, what do I think would be the best for a freediving setup? Honestly speaking, try to keep it as small as you can. This is quite logical, because you don't want to drag a huge thing with you. I would probably try to use one single light attached, if you have the clamp on your dive fork housing or any other housing, maybe with a handle system, but the dive fork housing has a hot shoe attached to that clamp that you use to use the filters, and then just attach a single underwater video light on there. That should actually do the trick and give you some really good results. And oftentimes one light, if it's a wide beam, go with like 90 or 100 degrees at least in the width of the beam, and a lumen, well, that's difficult to say, but let's say go with 8 to at least 8,000 lumen as a power setting or a maximum power outlet of the light. You should be capable of getting some really good results that way. And also keep in mind, if the water is murky and you get too many backscatters by having the light on top of your of the iPhone or the phone, you can always detach it and use the phone, the housing of the phone in one hand, and then use the other hand to, you know, not have it fixed on your phone case, but rather have it in your other hand and being able to shine the light and work with the light in a way that you can avoid the backscatter that way. It is quite a bit more challenging that way because you're now not handling just one piece of equipment, but you're, you know, coordinating both hands and trying to get the light into the right direction that way. But you can get some really cool results that way as well. So I would go with the blank, you know, phone and housing and one single underwater video light for freediving. I think that is your best option there. And I hope that that answers your question. Right, what else have we gotten here? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Enan, very much for your nice comment regarding the benefits that you're getting out of the content here on the channel. I really do appreciate that. And we have also Rifshan here. Rifshan, a dear friend of mine from the Maldives. Maybe we can just have a quick break with the Q&A session, because the reason Rifshan is in our live stream tonight here, it has a very, very good reason. He's not just joining us for fun, but he is actually he's actually the owner of a dive center in the Maldives, and I will be visiting him in the Maldives and spending a week diving with him in the South Ari Atoll in April next year, beginning of April. This is not a videography workshop yet, but it is a scouting trip. Rifshan reached out to me and asked me whether I wanted to hold a underwater videography workshop at his dive center in the Maldives, which is on Dangeti Island in the South Ari Atoll. It is a local Maldivian island, so it's not an island resort. It's really very true to nature and traditional Maldivian local island. And I said that before I take some people there on a underwater videography workshop, I do want to have a look at the place myself first. And so we set up a time frame, 1 week in early April next year, for me to come there and just have a week of diving. That's all I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be checking out logistics. I'm going to be looking at the dive boat. I'm going to be looking at the dive center, and most specifically at the different dive sites that we have in the surroundings there, and just get an impression for myself whether or not this is a place that I want to be taking a underwater videography workshop group to in the future. But I also thought, why not make this an open trip for any one of you guys who wants to join me for a fun trip? Not a videography workshop. There's not going to be any workshop elements during that trip, but it's really just going to be a group trip, a fun trip, going to this place and just diving for a week. And I can tell you from what I've seen on his Facebook page and the stuff that he sent me, the diving there is really, really cool. And I could actually as well just show you some footage that Rifshan has sent to me. Let me just quickly see if I can pull out that clip that I have received from him, and then I'll just activate the other computer and I'll show you a little montage of what the island is like, the accommodation, the dive center, and obviously the diving there as well. So let me see if I can just switch to the other camera if you want to bear with me, and I'll show you what this trip in April is gonna look like. Just 1 second, please. And here we are again. So that was just a quick impression of what is waiting for us in April in the Maldives on this scouting trip. And I'm more than happy to have any one of you guys with me on that trip. As I said, it's not a proper videography workshop. Obviously, I'm going to be there, and if there's any questions regarding underwater videography, I'm not going to say, no, this is not a workshop. Of course, I'm going to help you, but we're not going to be having specific, you know, theory lessons and knowledge development lessons and that sort of stuff. It's more just going to be a fun trip of a group of friends diving together. So if that is of interest to you, please feel free to reach out to me. Easiest way is to just send me an email to contact@matthiaslebo.com. And then I'll just make sure to get you in touch with Rifshan himself. He's gonna take care of all the booking, like the booking side and all that sort of stuff. By the way, I don't know if you saw it at the very end of the clip there. The price for the entire week is $1,870 US, which includes your accommodation for 7 nights, half board, 15 dives, including all rental equipment if you don't want to bring your own equipment. Within those 15 dives, there's 2 night dives, 2 wreck dives. There is a whale shark snorkel or whale shark trip, a manta ray snorkel or dive. So there's a lot of stuff in there. The ferry is also included from Male Island, from the main island, to Dangeti, to the island where we're going to be staying at. But all this is also on my website. There is a little flyer on there now. So if you go to matthiaslebo.com and then to the section live workshops, on there you'll find all the information for that trip. Yeah, let me know. I myself would be very happy to have some of you with me on that trip. And I'm pretty sure that Rifshan would also like to welcome us as a little group in April there in the Maldives. So he's now here in the chat as well. If you guys have any questions regarding that trip, feel free to put them in the chat, and Rifshan and myself will try to answer those questions. But having said that, let's get back into the Q&A session and let's see what else has come up. So we have a question from Impact X. Have you shot with your Komodo yet? If so, how did you like it? Yes, I have done quite a bit of work with my Komodo yet. Already, sorry, my English. I have done quite a bit of work with it already, and I do love it. It's obviously very different to filming with a compact camera or even a sort of a mirrorless DSLR system. The whole post-processing workflow is a lot more intense and time-consuming than with smaller cameras, consumer cameras. But the results that you can get are outstanding. Like, honestly speaking, I haven't really had much time after we came back from Egypt to go through all the footage that we've taken with our Komodos there, but we did capture some really cool stuff there. And this, over the next like month or 2, maybe 3, there is going to be more content that I will be publishing on the channel that has been shot with the Komodo. And yeah, it's really something spectacular. I do think that the whole Red Raw is a completely different league when it comes to the quality of the footage and what you can actually make from the raw footage that you capture. But of course, it comes with a price tag. It comes with, you know, complications in terms of having to carry more luggage with you. I mean, the people that were on our Egypt workshop, they saw Sebastian and myself carrying those big cameras from the rooms down to the dive shed and into the water. It's hard work, you know. It's not like taking a GoPro or even a TG6 or a GH5. It's hard work, and you feel it at the end of the day. But I do think it's all worthwhile for certain projects, not for everyday use. From what I've the experiences that I've made in the past half a year also with using cell phones, smartphones to film, everyday use, I would probably right now take my iPhone 14 Pro, and for specific projects, or if I really want to capture and collect stock footage, then I would go back to the red Komodo, because it is really in a league of its own, in my opinion. Yeah, I hope that this answers your question there a little bit. There's also a couple of videos that I've excuse me, a couple of videos that I've published in the past here on the channel that have some red Komodo footage in there. So if you're interested, just scroll through the videos on my channel, and it should be quite clear which ones will have some red Komodo footage in them. Right. Yeah, Rifshan, I'm also looking very much forward to that trip. Then we have Diego Carraro here. Hello, Diego. Nice to have you here in the live stream. He's got a question. Hey, Matthias, I always watch all your videos. Thank you very much. I also live here in Zurich, but I didn't dive here yet. Well, we kind of need to meet, don't we? Do you have some tips about dive sites around here? Is it also interesting for photographers? Yeah, it can be. It can be. It very much depends, Diego, on the time of the year. Normally summer and autumn are not very good for diving in Switzerland because the water is too warm and you get too many particles like plant stuff in the water, which is really bad for the visibility, obviously, and so for filmmaking and photography, not the ideal time of the year. Preferably you do want to dive and film or take photos in kind of the winter time or spring. My preferred or my favorite time of the year is sort of late May, early June, because that's when the water is already starting to warm up a little bit, so it's not too cold anymore, but it's still cold enough for the water to be clear. And you get a lot of juvenile fish in that period of time that are just around the dive sites. And there's so many dive sites, depending on where you want to go. You know, you got the Lake of Zurich, you got other lakes in the vicinity here that you can quite easily get to. It's probably easiest if you reach out to me via like an email, and I can just give you more information on that, sort of, you know, straight to you, rather than talking too much about it here on that live stream, because I'm not sure if everyone else is too much interested in the different or the specific dive sites around Zurich here. But Diego, by all means, feel free to just send me an email, get in touch with me that way, and I'll be more than happy to pass on some recommendations on dive sites and stuff with you there. If we can keep it at that, that would be fantastic. But thank you very much for your comment, and great to have a fellow Swiss diver from Zurich here in the live stream. We've got Gerrit here as well with a question. Hello Gerrit, have you done or filmed in the Pacific Northwest? Also, any recommendations for shooting in murky water or while freediving? I have actually not ever even dived in the Pacific Northwest. I don't think so. No, I haven't. Like, well, I have dived in Monterey, if you consider that Pacific Northwest. But that's the furthest up that I was there. Other than that, I haven't done any diving or filming up there. Murky water, well, call it my home. That's what we get here in Switzerland, as I said before, very often. You just got to be very careful with your lights. That's kind of the key thing there. And try to not just blow out everything with your lights, because you're going to end up with a lot of backscatter. Try to position your lights as far out as you can and go with the golden triangle rule, where you want to have your lights meet. If you shoot with a dual light setup, your lights should meet right in front of the object that you're trying to film, so that you're not illuminating any water column in front or any water in front of your object, which potentially can cause backscatter back onto the camera lens, which is just not very nice to have. So trying to have the lights as far out as possible and try to create that triangle should do a lot already. Other than that, try to stay shallow. You know, if it's murky water, yeah, try to stay shallow where you have as much natural light as possible, so you don't really need to use too much light, too intense light to lighten up your subject and causing backscatter. Other than that, I mean, murky water is like trying to film when it's foggy outside on land. There's not really a lot that you can do to help against the murkiness in the water. And murky water, you're never going to be able to create a shot that in murky water where it's going to be completely invisible that the water was murky. It's just the way it is. But try to focus on you know, closer objects. Try to go more into the macro field where it doesn't really matter if the water is too murky. If you're very close to your object, you can still get some really, really nice shots, and try to avoid wide angle shots that are not really going to be, you know, giving much in terms of composition and clarity and all that sort of stuff. So that's probably the tips that I can give you there for filming in murky water. And then free diving, try to keep your setup as streamlined and compact as possible, and also consider using, as I explained before, using the light not on your setup, but maybe have it, you know, just in one hand and use it sort of free-handed while you're taking the shots when freediving. That way you can just adjust the light quicker and you're more flexible. And I guess that's one of the big benefits, or one of the things that you want to achieve with freediving, trying to get the shots done quickly. So hopefully that answers your question there. Excellent. Right, so what else? Have we got any other questions? I think we've gone through most of the questions that have been in the chat so far. Yeah, what else? Well, while we wait for any more questions that will come up or might not come up, I will just quickly talk about something else, and then we're kind of getting towards sort of the 1 hour time frame that I've set for this live stream anyway, so we'll bring it to an end shortly, I'm guessing. But one thing that I do want to talk about just quickly while we wait for any other questions that might pop up is something that I'm going to be introducing in January here on the channel, and it is the YouTube membership. It is something that I've thought about for actually a very long time, whether or not I do want to include a membership into my YouTube account. And after having thought very hard about it, and also talked to some of you guys and asked some of you guys, I have come to the conclusion that I do want to create a paid membership here on the channel. I've also posted a poll a couple of like 2 weeks ago or something that maybe some of you guys also have commented on, giving you some options on what I would include as benefits for being a member or having a paid membership on the channel. I'm just gonna quickly go through these. Well, I think one of the things that also most of you guys thought as a good idea would be a prioritized member submission for the Reviewing Your Underwater Films series. Because right now with the Underwater Film series, or Reviewing Your Underwater Film series, we have something like 40 submissions in the pipeline, which means it's going to take us like 8 months to get to your submission once you submit your film. You'll have to wait for like 8 months. And I was looking for a way of giving you guys, or the ones of you who want that prioritization, giving them a chance to, you know, have their film being reviewed quicker and not having to wait that long. For some people, it's okay to wait longer. For others, they would like to, you know, be able to get feedback quicker, but we just can't do it. It's just too many submissions, and I can't really do more than one of these reviews a week. So this is going to be one of the benefits of the paid membership, that we are going to be prioritizing the submissions of members of the channel, and they will be reviewed much quicker. Then we also have sort of a pre-sale on group trips and underwater videography workshops. They have been very popular, and we do want to keep the numbers for these workshops. We just want to keep them low because I want to make sure that I have plenty of time to spend time with each and every one of you, answering questions, you know, just all that sort of stuff during such a workshop. So we want to keep the numbers low, and therefore with a paid membership, you will get like sort of a first pick, and the trips will be announced within the membership group first before they get published to the public. There's also an option for a private Facebook group, which wasn't too popular in the poll. I'm also planning on doing this here, what we do right now, quarterly Q&A, exclusive Q&A live sessions, and they will be available for membership members, and also discounts and special offers on new released online courses, digital products like my LUT packs, all that sort of stuff. That's also a benefit that is going to be included in the new membership plan. What do you think about this while I have you here in the stream? If you want to leave a comment there, what are your thoughts about this membership? This new membership that I want to introduce in January? Is this something that you approve of? Is this something that you don't like? Why do you like it? Why do you don't like it? I would really be interested in hearing your thoughts about this. It's not going to change anything about the regular free content that's going to be available on my channel. I'm not planning on making any content that is only going to be available for like members. I don't really want to do this. I have online courses that are paid courses that are covering that part. I don't really want to, you know, split the content that is on YouTube for paid and non-paid. But I do want to give you some other benefits with such a paid membership. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of that. And I also wanted to use the opportunity having you here to announce that this is going to happen. I will be announcing this also in a regular video in January next year, where I'm going to have all the details and everything. And once everything is going to be set up, you will obviously hear and see it. What else have we got here? Right, we've got a comment from Gary. Love your channel, very informative about filming underwater. Keep up the good work. Regards from Cape Town. Way, greetings back to Cape Town, my friends. Great to have you here in the live stream, and thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate that, and I'm very happy that the content is useful to you and you're getting something out of it. And then we've got another question from Impact X. What are your thoughts on full frame versus cropped sensors for underwater footage? Do you have a preference? Well, generally speaking, a full frame sensor is gonna be better in terms of more light sensitive, and it's gonna give you more, not gonna give you more capabilities or anything, but it's just gonna make it easier for you to get better footage in low light situations, which oftentimes is the case when we film underwater. So yeah, it can be a good way to go. On the other hand, please do keep in mind that full frame sensors also require larger lenses normally. So with a cropped sensor, with a cropped sensor, the lenses are oftentimes usually smaller, which is better for traveling. So that's also something that I would consider. I mean, even the Komodo that I'm using is not a full frame. It's Super 35 millimeter sensor, which is sort of what's been used for a very long time in the film industry, and works great for me even underwater. You can get a fantastic separation between foreground and background. So yeah, I wouldn't really choose a camera on whether it is full frame or not for underwater. I think there's other things that are more important and that I would consider first before looking at whether it is a full frame sensor or not. I mean, the GH5 and the GH5S that I have been using for so long, they're micro 43 sensors, and they work great. I mean, I was able to get some really cool shots and really good footage with that setup. And it is more compact, I would say, than a full frame setup. And that's probably the biggest disadvantage with full frame. It is not as compact as your cropped sensor cameras, if that makes sense in any way. Right. Oh, Rebecca just received her dive fork housing. I realized that I'm not sure how to attach my video lights and gorilla tripod to it. How did you tray yours? Well, did you, Rebecca, get the clamp with the filter for the housing as well? Because if you did, then that clamp will have some threaded holes on the bottom where you can attach either a handle or a gorilla pod, like tripod, and on the top it will have a hot shoe mount where you can attach a ball mount that has like a ball mount on one side and a hot shoe male part on the bottom of the ball mount. You can attach that to the clamp at the housing, and then you can just use a normal ball mount on your light to attach it there. But you will really need that clamp to be able to put any accessories onto your dive fork housing. So let me know if you did get that. If not, then I can point you to which one it is that you really want to get, in addition to be able to attach accessories to the housing. Maybe, but that's a good point. Maybe that's something that I haven't been too clear in past videos, that it's not just the housing, but you do need that clamp as well to be able to use it, to use the housing with accessories. Thank you for that, Rebecca. From where is your, yeah, okay, we've got Fire Lapster. From where is your English accent coming? You do not have the typical Swiss English accent. I do take this as a compliment. Thank you very much. I used to live in Australia for a couple of years, and I learned English pretty much all around the world. But most of the time while I was learning, I spent in New Zealand and Australia, and that's probably where the accent is coming from. A lot of people actually guess me as being South African for some reason, even though I've never been to South Africa before myself. But yeah, that's where my accent is coming from, and every time I hear someone saying that I don't have the typical Swiss accent, a smile crosses my face, and for some reason I'm quite happy about that comment being made. So thank you very much. You kind of made my day there. Thanks. Okay, so Rebecca did get the clamp for the dive fork housing. Once you've attached that clamp, Rebecca, you will see that there is holes down on the bottom, and you can attach a tray or a tripod there, and there is also that hot shoe mount on the top, which you can use then. If you don't want to use a tray, you can use that to attach a single light onto it. But otherwise, if you can attach your tray, you also obviously have your lights there as well on that tray. So hopefully that should work for you. If not, well, you got my contact details. Just let me know and we'll figure out how to attach all that stuff to the new dive fork housing. Excellent. Wow. This was a very intense and active chat, and I'm very grateful to every one of you guys for asking all these questions here in this live stream. I'm thrilled to have such a lively conversation, even though for me it is like a conversation with myself mainly, but it's really cool to be able to talk to you this way and just interact with you and answer all these questions. That's really, really cool. So we'll give it another, let's say, 5 minutes or so. If you have any additional questions you want to ask, then this is the time to do so. Otherwise, we'll bring this live stream to an end in about 5 minutes or so. yeah, well, thank you at this stage already for joining us for this live stream and being here and giving me some of your precious time and spending it here in this live stream and here on YouTube with me. I do really appreciate every single one of you being here and then asking these questions. And even for those of you who came to the live stream and didn't ask any question, you know, there's always if you asked any question, then I'm sure that the other people watching the live stream have also benefited from us talking about this and then discussing the topic that you guys were asking about. So thank you very much for that. Excellent. Right. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah. Maybe one last thing that that I want to mention is, and this is again, I'll do a bit of self-promotion here. I hope this is okay. If you've missed it, my online underwater videography course is on sale again until the end of the year. I'm just gonna quickly go over to the other screen. Just bear with me, please. All right, and I'm still hopefully here. This is, I just want to show you, this is the online underwater videography course, the landing page basically for it. It's on sale, as I said. Normal price, as you can see here, is the 249 euros. But if, let's go to the checkout page. If you enter the coupon code, where is it? Where's the coupon code? Down here. If you enter the coupon code Black Friday 22, you will get a 150 euro, a 60% discount on the course there. This is just something that I've decided to extend this discount to everyone who wants to sign up for the course until the end of the year, 31st of December. You can still get the discounted price or you can get the course for the discounted price. It's a lifelong subscription that you make there. Yeah, so feel free to have a look if this is something that interests you. If not, then that's perfectly fine as well. I just thought I'll let you know, and now I'll come back to myself here again. Right, Gerrit says, I joined a bit late on your live stream. What would you recommend when you starting with underwater filming? That's a very good question, Gerrit. Thanks for asking this, and it's not a question that has already been made here or placed here in this live stream. So you say you want to start with filming underwater, then I would probably try to use a rather compact system to start off with. Action cameras, GoPros, DJI Osmo 3s, that sort of stuff. This is always a good idea when you start off because they're easy to use. You know, you don't have too many buttons to fumble around with underwater, and you can get fairly good results. They're not, you know, probably not going to get your National Geographic shot using a GoPro, generally speaking, but for a starting point, they do a really good job. Another option that I would highly recommend is looking at smartphones. Because chances are that you already own a smartphone that has a very good camera inside of it, and by just getting a housing for your smartphone, you will be able to use that already good camera in your smartphone, use that to film your underwater adventures. So you don't really need to spend any more money on getting a camera. You just need to get a housing, and housings, there's different variations of housings. You might know that the dive fork is my absolute favorite, but there's also the sport diver from Sea Life. There's a lot of other housings out there that will also do a good job. I personally prefer the dive fork because of the unique touchscreen functionality that it has. And with that, I mean, I think that that's also a very good option to start off with underwater filming because you have your camera already. You only need to spend a couple $100 for the housing. Like if you just want to get the housing, it's like $200 for the dive fork housing. I think it's $350 for the sport diver housing. The dive fork, I would recommend you get the clamp as well with the red filter. And if you have the clamp, the red filter and the housing, I think that's going to be something like $300 and you're set. You don't need to spend any more money than that. And then you can go and try it out and see how you like it. And if you like it, then maybe you can think about getting a larger camera, maybe go into, you know, the mirrorless system, or a compact camera that requires a larger housing and additional lights and all that sort of stuff. But to start off with, I mean, why not use what you already have and just get a housing so you can use it underwater. So I do think that smartphones are really, it is going to be the way to go in the future, with these cameras just becoming more capable and more powerful. Yeah, I think that's where we're heading. Smartphones are going to become a more important, or are going to play a more important role in underwater filmmaking, in the amateur field for sure in the future. Yeah, definitely. All right, so Rifshan has also placed a comment here. Let's see. I use ambient filters on my GH5. Do you use a red filter with the camera? On the GH5S, I use a red filter, yes, and then in that case I also use blue ambient light filters on the lights. With the GH5, I find that the camera is not very light sensitive, and using a red filter just blocks additional light from getting to the sensor, and it makes it difficult to properly expose the image. Unless you have a red filter that is, you know, not very dense, like a very light red filter can work there. But generally speaking, yes, I would use red filters even on like larger systems, to just get extra red color into your image. And then if you use a red filter, obviously do a manual white balance at the desired depth of shooting. And if you have a scenario, a composition where you've got a foreground, something in the foreground and something in the background, and you use red filters, then I would also use blue filters on the lights to compensate for the extra red that you're gonna get in that area that the lights will reach. So yes, a combination of both is desirable there. Then we've got another question from Fire Labs. Do you think that a TG7 ever comes out? I don't think so, honestly speaking, because from what I know, the Olympus has sold their camera department. I'm not sure if it's I think it's the complete camera department, or just the underwater department. I'm not entirely sure, but from what I remember, they sold that, and I don't know. I can't tell you. Gut feeling, no, I don't think so. I don't think a TG7 is gonna come out ever, but that's just a gut feeling. Yeah, Garrett, definitely. I would look into the dive fork. It really does tick a lot of boxes. And if you do want to look into it, if you do want to get yourself a dive fork, I think down in the comment or the description section of this video, there's also a link to the dive fork website, to the web shop. If you use that link, that's an affiliate link, but if you use that link, you'll get an extra 6% deducted from your purchases on the website. I do get a little bit of a kickback there as well, but it's not costing you anything at all. It's actually giving you an extra 6% off there too. But you're helping the channel here to keep producing content. So if you decide to get a dive fork and you decide to use the link in any of my videos to get the dive fork, getting yourself a bit of a saving, and you're supporting the channel here as well, which I do appreciate a lot. Thank you very much. Right, so I think that's pretty much sums everything up. There's no more questions, no more unanswered questions from what I can see, which is good. Paul, hello Paul. Yeah, we do nerd out a little bit on these live streams here, but I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah, thank you Impact X. Thank you very much for being here, and likewise, happy holidays to you as well. Yeah, well, as I said, I think we're going to be closing the live stream here. Yeah, it's been a good hour. There's no more questions that I can see in the live stream coming up. So we'll just leave it at this. Again, thank you so much, guys, for having been part of this live stream and for giving me some of your precious time tonight. I really do appreciate that. A quick announcement here. There is gonna be a quick break in the Tuesday videos on the channel here. I'm just gonna make a little Christmas break myself. So for the next 2 weeks, there won't be any videos on Tuesdays. The Thursdays videos, the reviewing you underwater film episodes, they will continue all the way through, but the Tuesday videos, they will have a quick break. There is still one next Tuesday, which is going to be the last one for this year. I will be reviewing the WeFine underwater camera housing for the TG6. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about what I think about this the housing, this special housing for the TG6, make sure to tune into next Tuesday's video. And then after this, there's going to be a 2-week break, and I will be back on schedule regularly every Tuesday from January 10th next year. So this is kind of the time to wish you a Merry Christmas, fantastic holiday season. Enjoy this festive time with your loved ones, your family, your dear ones. Get spoiled. If you do get to dive, make sure to capture all your amazing underwater adventures. Get well into the new year, and I'm really looking forward to this new year 2023 with all of you here on the channel and to the journey that is ahead of us. Thanks. Thank you very much for all your support and all the love that you give through your comments and your likes and all that sort of stuff. It's highly appreciated. And yeah. Let's continue creating fantastic content and show the beauty of our underwater world. And I've definitely talked way too much, and I'll leave you with this. Have a good night or a good afternoon wherever you're watching from, and I will see you guys in the next video.